Happening this very moment on Capitol Hill, the Senate Homeland Security Committee is holding an extremely important hearing. It's about threats to our homeland, terror concerns over the Israel-Hamas war, and Biden's wide-open border policies are at the forefront. Democratic Chairman Gary Peters and GOP Ranking Member Rand Paul questioning U.S. Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas and also FBI Director Christopher Wray. Let's get you out to Alana Austin, who joins us live from Washington, who's been listening to the hearings and what's been taking place. Alana, good afternoon. Give us some of the highlights so far. Obviously, very tough questions being asked. Are they dodging them as we usually see?
Well, yes, interestingly, Bianca, we did hear some exchange from Republican senators and Alejandro Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary. And in one point, we learned that there's been 600,000 known gotaways in fiscal year 2023. And in total, 1.7 million known gotaways since President Biden took office. I'd also like to recap some of those interesting highlights, as you mentioned, regarding terror threats overall. We hear bipartisan lawmakers agreeing that the threats are only increasing. And we also heard concern from FBI Director Christopher Wray that there could be copycats or other hostile actors who attempt to sow discord or commit acts of violence here on our homeland. Now, Wray clarified there's no evidence of foreign terror plots targeting the U.S. right now, but he says this is a time to be vigilant and that we live in a dangerous era. Wray says he's especially worried about gaps in the system that could miss potential radicalized extremists. Right now, Wray says they're carefully following the activities of several people linked to Hamas. He's especially worried about the Jewish community and says while they only account for 2.4% of the U.S. population, Jewish people are the victims of 60% of all religious-based hate crimes.
The reality is that the terrorism threat has been elevated throughout 2023, but the ongoing war in the Middle East has raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the United States to a whole nother level.
Now, Mayorkas says they are facing unprecedented challenges at the border and beyond. He called on Congress to approve supplemental funding so that potential terror threats and other types of national security risks could be thwarted.
In the days and weeks since, we have responded to an increase in threats against Jewish, Muslim, and Arab American communities and institutions across our country. Hate directed at Jewish students, communities, and institutions add to a pre-existing increase in the level of anti-Semitism in the United States and around the world.
And Bianca, as you mentioned there, Mayorkas did dodge a few questions from Kansas GOP Senator Roger Marshall and other Republican members here on the committee. He gave several different reasons. One, he said he wouldn't weigh into certain issues in this context. He fell back on blaming a broken immigration system. Again, said, oh, they're facing unprecedented challenges, and so that's why the situation is so severe and dire. But I would say in a number of instances, Republicans were visibly frustrated with Mayorkas once again here.
Yeah, clearly. And pretty alarming that they're tracking people connected to Hamas when they say there could be gaps. I guess they don't want to admit the open border is a direct correlation. Alana Austin, thank you so much for that update. Please continue to watch it. We'll be checking back in with you as news warrants. And for more reaction to this hearing right now, let's bring in Republican Congressman Buddy Carter of Georgia. Welcome in, sir. It's good to have you today with us on Newsline. It's such an important hearing. Obviously, there's concerns about possible people in our country who want to do harm. But there was also an exchange today I want to play for you and get your reaction, because Rand Paul went right after Mayorkas talking about the disinformation, the social media suppression that has played out in our country. Let's play this back and forth.
You have never had any meetings with the social media companies to discuss content moderation.
What we have done in the past, Ranking Member Paul, as I shared with you previously, is we, along with other federal agencies, have met with social media companies in a public-private partnership to speak of the threats to the homeland so that those companies are alert to them.
Do you think a threat to the homeland is a discussion of vaccine efficacy?
I do not.
Congressman Carter, I mean, these are the types of answers that frustrate so many Americans. At what point are we going to get, the administration here to fess up about the damage they have done and the concern now that our nation has because of their lax policies?
Well, I don't think there's any question. Senator Paul is right on spot here, and he's exactly right. What we're witnessing is the coalition and the cooperation, if you will, of the internet platforms and social media trying to help cover for what is one of the worst disasters we've witnessed in this country, and that is the open border that we have here. That's why I would be in favor of impeaching Mayorkas, because I think he has failed the American public, more so than just about any other secretary that we've had in this administration. And we've got some bad ones in this administration. But nevertheless, his work at the border has been dismal at best. It has just been awful. That border is causing so many problems here. And it would be naive of anyone to think that there aren't terrorists coming across that border with the intention of hurting us. The number one responsibility of our federal government is to protect our homeland and protect our citizens. We cannot do it with an open border.
I have about 30 seconds, Congressman Carter. Not only is there concern about terror, we know that there have been fentanyl deaths, innocent Americans, because of the drugs being brought across our border. The Biden administration just this week is urging schools to keep an opioid overdose reversal drug on hand. I mean, I obviously think as a parent and you want to have your kids be safe at school, but isn't that an admission that, yes, their open, wide policy has now endangered every single school child as well?
Absolutely, it's an admission, and it's something that has got to be taken care of. There's two problems here. First of all, the amount of fentanyl that's coming across that border. That's why we need to secure our border. Secondly, the amount of fentanyl that's in this country right now. Naloxone is one of the tools in our tool chest to fight that and to combat that. If used quickly enough, it can reverse the effects of fentanyl poisoning. That's why I have legislation, Saving Lives in School Act, that would require it to be in every school in America. I carry it in my backpack everywhere I go. It's a necessity now. It should be just like Serpivipicac was back in the old days. It should be in every medicine cabinet and every emergency box in America now.
Clearly, this is Biden's America here. Congressman Buddy Carter, wish we had more time, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, though. Appreciate it today.
Thank you.